Hello. Hello.
Confidence Conversations with Ramat Oyetunji. So the relationship here is Ramat. I've known you for what seems like ever. So I was trying to think, okay, what time frame should I add to it? It's something like the equivalent of junior high, I guess, like middle school, right?
Yeah, so I think we've known each other since Form 2, but then we became friends in Form 4, which would be high school.
High school. Okay.
Yeah,
So, and I've called you my best friend since then. And
right.
we've been in touch, and every major event in my life, you've been a part of that. And despite being such a close friend to you, I've always been so impressed with you. I say despite
Thank
maybe
you.
because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you get to know someone, it's like, okay, I know everything, but you've always been so impressive to me. You're very clear on what you want and you go for what you want. So naturally, you were not far from mine when it came to time to do this confidence conversation. So I'll go through the structured questions and then pause so that you can answer, and then ask something that's specific to you a little closer to the end. First, please introduce yourself to the audience.
All right, thanks, Idara. So my name is Ramat Oyetunji, like you'd already mentioned, and I'm the CEO of the FI Woman. It's a business that I started in 2015. Speaking of confidence, but trying to coach women about personal finance. But before then, I've done a variety of things. Career-wise, so I've had like a 20-year career span, doing a few other things in the industry, specifically pharma industry. And I think that's it for me. Well, I'm married, I have a daughter, 9 years old, very precocious, very smart, you know.
I didn't hear you say you're an engineer. Did you introduce yourself without mentioning engineering?
I did, yes.
Ramat!
I know. I am an engineer. Yes, I'm an engineer. And my career has gone through like um, a wide variety of things in which I didn't really do a lot of engineering, but I definitely do identify myself as an engineer. Yes.
Another thing that struck me was that you went for your master's in engineering, but then switched gears to do an MBA.
Yes. And the funny story about that is in one of my classes, I think it was heat transfer, we literally were just continuing with the same book that we'd used in our senior year. And it just seemed just the same, but just more of it. So I wanted to do something different. And because I had such a one-track mind about being an engineer and I'm being a mechanical engineer, I couldn't think of anything else that I could do. And my husband was the one who actually suggested that, well, how about an MBA? Because I'd taken some business classes when I was an undergrad. And yeah, so that was like the best decision for me. And it was great because it broadened my horizon.
Yeah, and funny enough, to me, it's like doing business, and to the extent that business includes a focus on numbers. That's not the whole story, obviously, but it seemed like a natural segue because you'd always been great with numbers. Okay, so
Thanks, yeah.
how would you define or describe confidence?
So I think confidence can mutate and can change, from day to day and from scenario to scenario. So to me, like confidence is feeling comfortable in your own skin. And sometimes even when you don't know what is maybe being discussed or if you are unsure of a certain situation, but when you're comfortable in your own skin, you're confident, confident enough to ask questions, confident enough to say, I don't know. So for me, that's what confidence is.
That's a great definition, and it does amount to that, really. It's that comfort. It's not like you know everything, but
Yeah.
that's a great definition. I'll have to. I'm noting that one for where I'll put that one in my notes. All right, so can you share a time when being confident has made a difference in your career?
Oh, that's a great question. I feel like at different parts along the way, like being confident has helped elevate me, so and I still remember one person while I was still pretty junior in my career. I expressed maybe some, like I wasn't sure about myself, about something. So I expressed some uncertainty, and the person was just so shocked. They're like, "You're the most confident person I know." And so I think along the way, having that confidence in myself, I've always kind of been confident when it comes to, hey, if I put my mind to something, I can learn it. If I put my mind to something, I can succeed. And I've actually put my mind to something and I did not succeed. So that was also a learning.
Mm.
But I've always had that kind of like confidence in myself. And so because of that, I've gone for promotions, even when it seemed like, well, why are you going for this promotion? Or I've asked for things. I haven't always gotten them, but I at least step up and I ask, and I step up and I raise my hand and I say, yes, I want to do this. Or every single opportunity that has been a good opportunity for me has been because, I was confident enough to go for it. And sometimes that confidence is bolstered by friends like you, Idara, or other colleagues who say, yeah, absolutely, you can do that. So sometimes even that confidence needs bolstering. And that has kind of like stuck out to me that, every point where I elevated myself was from that kind of well of confidence and then taking action.
Two things that you said really struck me, the bolstering. So I do think that people need boosters or reminders every now and then,
Yes.
occasionally, or maybe on the verge of a big decision. It doesn't mean you're not confident, but it's helpful to have that, village, in a manner of speaking, around you. And the other thing was when you talked about someone being surprised when you expressed uncertainty, is a lot of times people define confidence as certitude, like you just know. And under certain circumstances, there are things you know, but it doesn't mean you have to know everything. It's almost
Right.
like people feel like the way they show confidence is to make it seem like they know everything, but that's not the actual definition of confidence. So it's oftentimes interchanged when people express it. Okay, so
No, I agree.
yeah, so okay, so now the other thing was, speaking of boosts, how do you get your confidence boosts if and when you need them?
I think it depends on what it is, So if we're sticking to maybe career and workplace, it's a little easier to kind of look at the things you've done. And that then kind of gets me out of my slump. It's like, okay, yeah, I can do this. Like, I might be in a period where I am unsure. I don't know everything. I don't know what I'm doing, but I have a track record of succeeding, so that at least is a starting point to help boost my confidence a little, and then of course reaching out to other people or being clear on the things I don't know and then asking myself, okay, how do I learn that? That's another way that I boost my confidence, because I think sometimes when you're feeling unsure and not confident about something, you tend to just lump everything together like, oh yeah, I just don't know anything. But then, like once I start to like break down, okay, well, I know this, like you start to boost your confidence a little bit. And then I pinpoint on the things that, okay, what is it that I don't know? What is it that I'm unsure of? And then I focus on that. And it tends to be like a small set of everything, not, everything.
I can tell I'm going to enjoy these conversations, Ramat, because what you're saying is so spot on. When people are going through it, when you're going through it, it might seem like, oh, it's just me, speaking of lumping everything together. But it's actually fairly
Right.
natural. What you're describing makes perfect sense. You hold on to the things that you know, and then
Yeah.
you kind of bridge and close the gaps for the things that you don't know with, resources, information. Okay, so what recommendation or advice do you have or have you used in situations that have challenged your confidence?
So one of the things that, and it takes time, I feel, to like get to that point. A lot of times when I felt my confidence was challenged, it's usually from external sources, right? Maybe either people telling you that you're not a right fit or people telling you that you didn't do a good job, So it's typically from external. And earlier in my career, I probably would internalize those things more. But as I've progressed, as I've become more mature, as I've become older, as I've become become more confident, I'm able to compartmentalize things, and I'm able to say, okay, yes, what they're saying does not necessarily mean it's true for me, and then I try to objectively get that feedback just to say, okay, which parts of it are true and what can I change about it? And some of it you just reject outright. Someone tells you, like, oh, yeah, you're not good at this. It's like, no, that's not true. I might have made one mistake, but it doesn't mean I'm not good at any of it. So I think it comes with time. It comes with growing your confidence and maturity to be able to just sort out, okay, what is actually true and what is some of the things that you can just reject outright. Yeah, that's not true. You're saying that about me, but that's not true. And I'm not going to internalize that.
That's great. I don't know if you can see, I'm taking notes. I'm
That's good.
taking notes here because I really like how you said that then what you do is after you've taken notes, you just reject it
Yeah,
outright, it's not true. Someone else's perspective
right.
may not be true, and it's important to recognize it and know when to reject it and not internalize it. That is very important.
Absolutely.
So, in your case, one of the things I wanted to talk about was finance because that's what your main work is these days with the financially independent woman. And a
Yes.
lot of times, what gives people the confidence to make a big move is tied to their financial situation. And so I wanted to bring that up in sort of a broad way because I'm sure in your interaction with clients, in the advice you've provided, you have found that that financial confidence goes a long way. So, can you share a bit more about the how and not necessarily the why? I think why it matters makes sense, but the how financial independence and that confidence in financial empowers people to make the decisions that they need to make.
Sure. And I think getting that confidence in your personal finance will have a ripple effect in so many different areas of your life. I agree that money is in everything and it does not buy happiness for sure. But money is absolutely a tool that people use today, right? So when you gain that confidence in your personal finance, the ripple effect goes into your career. It goes into how you carry yourself, how you see yourself. It goes into your personal life, how you present yourself to your children, your husband, other family members, whatever it is, right? And so that's part of the why of why it's important to gain that confidence. But then how you gain the confidence, I see that for a lot of women and probably people in general, is even be arming yourself with knowledge and information. So a lot of people kind of like just see it, their finance, and they think, oh, this is too complicated, but then the minute you sit down and try to like break it down, almost like what we just said about not everything is complicated. Maybe some parts of it are, but once you gain some knowledge on what you think is too complicated, your confidence starts to increase in terms of managing your own finances. You don't have to be an expert, but at least you're confident enough to say, okay, this is where I am. This is what I want. This is how I'm going to get it. I don't have all the tools or resources, but I know where to find them. And I can start taking some action against it.
So, as you were talking about that, and I was listening to the different things you were saying, I remember someone asking me as I was launching Antorch Group, um, what were the things that made me confident to leave a stable job. And one of the first things that I brought up, apart from, just overall a supportive environment, I feel like I grew up in a supportive home where everyone believed in me. I'm married to a supportive person who believes in me and so on. The top thing on my mind was finance, really. How will we fare? Are we able to absorb this additional risk, to lose this income to start before there's income coming in? So, yes, finance and confidence are not, those financial independence and confidence are not the same thing, but for these big life decisions, I can see how that empowered me to make the move that I needed to move, and it has empowered other people to be able to make that move and absorb the space between the previous source of income and the next source of income. Okay.
Absolutely. So I mean, like money is tied into almost everything that we do, right? And because of that, other people externally can control you based on money and your need to exist and to make money, right? So even just a little bit of a financial windfall, or even just like a little bit of a savings account or something that you know you can rely on, boosts your confidence in terms of moving out of a bad relationship, as an example, moving out of a bad area or an area that you're not comfortable in, leaving a toxic job, or even giving yourself some time to recover from an illness, recover from a mental breakdown, or just recover from something that's personal to you. So having your finances in order really does ripple into other areas that boost your confidence. So I'm not surprised that that was kind of like one of the top things that you also considered
Yeah,
once you'd already taken
absolutely.
other things into consideration.
Absolutely. So the final question I have, and I don't even know if it's relevant for you because I've never known you to back down from anything that you wanted to do. But I want to end with, so what's your next bold move?
Well, I'm on it. or I'm on my bold move right now, or I'm in the journey of it right now.
The FI
So
woman?
yes, the FI Woman. So the FI Woman has been around since 2015, like I said, but this year I retired from corporate, you know, environment, and I'm actually doing this full time.
Yeah.
So for me, that's extremely bold. I mean, I've never had a business full time in which everything that I earn is based on me, right? So I'm not getting a salary. I don't have that to fall back on, so it's really like for me, this is my bold move for 2021, I would say. And probably for a few years to come, because there's so much to do with it. I'm just starting out with it. So it's going to be a learning experience, I feel like, for many, many years. I'm sure it'll challenge my confidence up and down um, along the way, but I'm excited.
You're up for it. You're up. There's one thing I know about you is that you're up for the
Oh,
challenge.
thank
But
you.
I'll be here to witness, to praise, and to learn along the way too.
Oh, thank you. Yes, you are always firmly in my corner, and
Definitely, 100%, 100%.
for sure,
Ramat,
you're one
thank
of my confidence boosters. Yes,
that
you are.
is okay. That's very nice to hear, Ramat. That's awesome.
You are.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that we were able to do this. I'm already looking forward. I was taking notes, so I'm looking forward to playback because I suspect that there are other nuggets. You are bold, you are wise, you are
Thanks.
brilliant. Thank you so much for making the time. And I'm looking forward to more success, more progress, and to how this conversation will help other people. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you, Idara. Bye.
Bye.